Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This week I'm going to be talking about our story with my husband McKay, and we're going to be telling everything from our dating to proposal to getting married, so that we can have this memory forever.
Okay, so starting off with just like how Korynn and I met, it's weird how it all worked out because I came out here for volleyball to our school and her brother was on the team at the time, and so we kind of got together for like this team activity to watch the Super Bowl. And that was kind of like the first time that we met. I was super new to the school, so I was just kind of looking to make friends. So it was super, like, we met each other right away. So it was kind of like a familiar face, especially when you come to a new school. It's like you stick to those people that you first meet.
You don't know anybody too. It's like
you're kind of friendly. You have that like openness to make new friends and everything. So that's kind of what it was. It was probably like the next week school started, and so we realized that we had the same like class together, and so it was easy to kind of like make like, oh hey, how's it going? I remember you from that time, yeah. But it was one of those things where like I thought she was cute, but I'm like, I don't know her. I don't want to like kind of come across wrong. And I'm more of the guy to where I want like the first interaction to be super natural. So it's like we knew each other, but it wasn't like we had a one-on-one conversation when we first saw each other. It was kind of like a bunch of people. She was someone I saw and kind of interacted with. So it was definitely like, okay, like I don't want to just start like sliding in her DMs and just kind of like seeing who she is. It's like, let me get to know her first, so I'm not just following her out of nowhere. A couple weeks later, I remember I saw her with one of my teammates in like the cafeteria area that we had. And I'm like, oh, perfect. Now I can like, there's like someone that I know and kind of know, which is her, so I can go talk to him and it not be like an awkward situation. So that's when I got to talk to her a little bit more. I finally like, in a sense, broke the ice just to kind of get to know you a bit better.
So that's when you invited me to your house.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, it was probably the weirdest date idea ever because one, I've never done it before. Two, the apartment I lived in was like a house off campus. Like, hey, Korynn, do you want to like come over and do a puzzle with me in my room? Because I just got a Star Wars puzzle from a friend and I kind of started it, but I was never like a puzzle guy, but like I had it, so I was like, oh, let me do it.
Little did he know that I love puzzles.
So that was kind of our first date. Not a date, it was like a hangout. At the time I didn't know. So she had a boyfriend on her Instagram, but I was like, I don't know how serious this is. I don't want to bring it up and ask. So I was just kind of like, hey, do you want to come over, do this? Comes over and we just kind of started talking, and it was probably like 8 o'clock or something. Like it wasn't super late, but we ended up talking for like 3 hours while we were just doing this puzzle. Given I'm not really a puzzle guy, but it was so easy just to kind of like talk. And that's kind of what I think sparked so much of an interest for me. Was like, wow, I'm new here. I've been like meeting a bunch of people, but I haven't had this type of conversation. Like I got on a couple dates here and there with some other people. And so definitely felt kind of like that first date where you aren't really like connect super well. And it is just kind of weird. But with her, she came over and just felt so comfortable. And we just
there was
talked.
Like no really pressure of like a date too. Like it was just kind of.
It wasn't out in public. It wasn't like I was picking her up when we were going somewhere. It was like,
we were both
come
new,
over and just hang out.
We both didn't know anybody here, so it was really easy to kind of connect on that level and really just like get to know each other in like a less stressful scenario.
So it was so easy to kind of be like friends with her, but I also thought she was cute. So there was kind of like that twist.
So my side of the story is I was actually gonna go to a different college to be with that boyfriend. He was serving a mission for my church, and I ultimately decided that I wanted to come to the school that I'm at currently in Virginia. My brothers had previously attended here, and it just felt like it was the right fit for me. So I decided to try it out for a semester. I didn't have any friends out here, and so my brother, who was on your team, invited me to a team activity, and I just was super open to making friends. I wasn't looking for anything. I just wanted friends. And then McKay kind of started talking, and I was just making friends with a lot of the guys on the volleyball team. And at that point, I really was just friends with a lot of them and hanging out and stuff. But eventually my boyfriend and I at the time decided to mutually kind of part ways. But once that relationship kind of ended, I kind of looked at him, I guess, in a different light, I guess. And just kind of, we started hanging out more, and I feel like it was so easy to talk to you. Like, it was, like, we would talk for hours and hours, and it was about, like, funny things, family things, goofy, like, it was everything. And I, like, never really felt that with anybody before. So our first date, he asked me to go to this place that's like, it's kind of like a hike and waterfall. So we borrowed our friend's car and we drove up the mountain. So we basically just walked along, we talked, we just really kind of like were opening up to each other more at that point, kind of breaking down some of our walls.
And it was just so easy to kind of have that first date because she's been coming over, and it was just kind of like we talked about different things whenever we hung out at home, but like going out and like not having roommates around and anyone around, it was so easy just to kind of like be really vulnerable. And I think that's what kind of helped spark that interest and like make that connection so present, just because it was so easy. And I'm like, okay, I can talk. And then it didn't feel like different, I guess. It was just so mutually like accepting of like.
The best part, or the worst part about the date, was we went to take a picture and we had balanced his phone on a log that was over the river.
A tree like tipped over, so it was like the tree was like going into the river.
And so we balanced his phone on the edge of it, and we both like walked over, took some pictures, and then when we were coming back, I went to like pick up the phone and I dropped it in the river, and I was mortified.
This is what, so she, like, you guys are like me. She reaches to go grab it, it drops, she turns around, and I'm like, what happened? And she goes, it dropped. And I'm like, grab it. And she's just like, and so I have to like run over, and it's probably like 2-3 feet deep. So I just reach and grab it. She's like, I'm so sorry.
I was mortified. I didn't even know what to do in that situation. I was like, this is my first date with him, and I dropped his phone in the water. I was like, if that's like the first impression I leave on a date, he's not gonna want to hang out with me anymore. But luckily it still worked. And
I liked her enough to where everything worked out.
So then we started to hang out more and more with each other, and eventually we got to the point where we were kind of considering dating. We were a little bit unsure for a while what we wanted it to be. We kind of had the motto of like taking it day by day. Obviously we were both kind of fresh out of relationships, and so we were trying to guard our hearts very carefully and not rush into anything. So about 3 months later, it was about March, he asked me to be his girlfriend.
To the point where I'm like, okay, no, like we're on the same page. I feel really good about her. Things have just been so easy. It's been amazing. So we're like, I don't want to lose somebody because I've been like taking my time and not like committing. And so it was March, and this was like when there was rumors about COVID, but we didn't know how serious it was. And it was the beginning of the week when I was kind of prepping everything to ask her. And I was like, I'm gonna do it Friday. We'll go out on a date, and like I'll ask her somewhere. I didn't know what we were gonna do. But then I realized we had a home game. I'm like, okay, let's just make it super like low key. I'll just wait till we finish the game. I'll ask her after the game. That was Wednesday. So I kind of changed my plans, and I was like, okay, after the game, I got everything together. I had like a picture frame that had a bunch of pictures of us over like the dates we've been going to. And that was something that I know that's, I guess, not as common nowadays to like ask someone to be your girlfriend. It's kind of like you just kind of.
But I really appreciated it. Like,
Yeah.
It was very like intentional, and like it was just so sweet of you to like actually help me know where we are in our relationship, and just that you made that effort to like ask me that.
And so she said yes. I'm like, sweet, this is great. The next day, we were out at dinner and we got an email from the school saying, hey guys, classes are like being canceled for now. Everyone pack your bags. The school's being shut down. And I was like, holy crap. If I waited till Friday, I feel like it would have looked really bad of like, oh, we've been dating or we've been talking, we've been going on dates. Everyone's being told to get sent home. Hey, do you want to be my girlfriend? It seemed like it would have been like too rushed and not like as sincere.
But I think not even just that, but like if you had waited until then, it's like, how crazy is it that like you were going to do it Friday, but you decided to do it earlier, and how the timing of that all just worked out is crazy.
That's really weird to think about. We started dating in March and we went home for COVID, so we were able to spend essentially just like weeks at a time, just consistently with each other. So I feel like in the spectrum of things we kind of talk about, how when you date somebody, you see that person for like 2 hours, maybe like after you're done with your day. If you're working or if you're going to school, it's like you kind of have that little time in the evening when you hang out and like go on dates and stuff.
Each other consistently.
But we were at her home for like a week, and then she came and visited me at my home, and so it was just like we were doing classes like over Zoom and stuff together. So but then really the rest of the day we were just talking and hanging out and showing each other like the places where we were living and stuff.
And it was really easy to go back and forth between my family's house and his family's house.
Okay, so the next part is, when did I know that like Korynn was the one, or Korynn knew that I was the one for her? For me, it's definitely, at this point, we've kind of been dating for probably about like 6-7 months. And it was just looking back over the whole relationship, realizing all these boxes she's been checking and all these things that like I didn't even think I wanted in like a partner, that like she was fulfilling. She was showing me all these things of like, I want to see you, I want to be with you. And so when we were kind of back together after that distance, it just kind of made me feel even more certain that like I can't stop thinking about her. And that was something that my dad told me, is like, you'll know she's the one when you're doing something that like you love and you're still thinking about her. And so for me, it was like surfing and volleyball are like kind of the top two things. And so whenever I was like surfing or I was at the beach and I was doing something that like I truly enjoy, I'm like, oh my God, I just want Korynn to be here. Like I just really miss her. And it was one of those things where when that clicked, I finally like realized what my dad meant. I've never thought about this before, but like I think like she's my person. And like, I wanted to bring it up to her and let her know how I was feeling and kind of see where she was at.
Okay, so for me, when I knew that he was the one, I actually don't think I had one moment. I think for me, it was like a progression over time. And when he was like, I'm ready to get married to you, I really love you, like, I want this to like go far, I was like initially like, whoa, we haven't even been dating very long. Like for me, it felt very like quick. And our timeline overall was definitely very quick for a lot of people. But over time, it was kind of similar to you. I felt like he had a lot of traits that I really wanted in a relationship and in a marriage. And I think my, I guess, epiphany moment of when I realized that you were the one was my dad growing up always called me beautiful. That was like his nickname for me. He'd be like, hey beautiful, can you go do this? And I remember one day McKay called me that. He was like, hey beautiful, like how was your day? And it was like, it was kind of one of those moments where you're like, did he just say that? Like, and I realized it was like, that's the kind of love that like is meant for me. That's the kind of love that like I should be chasing and going after. And at that point, like we had already related on so many levels that it was just kind of that moment that I needed. So the next question is, how did you propose?
So I knew Korynn at this point. She didn't want anything public. She is a very private person. She doesn't want a lot of attention. It's like that anxiety of just like a lot of eyes on you makes, I feel like, a lot of people uncomfortable. And so it was one of those things.
And it's such an intimate moment. Like being proposed to like with the love of your life is very intimate.
Yeah. And it's like, I feel like everybody has those preferences of like what they want. Maybe they do want a lot of people there, and it's been awesome. But it was nice just like knowing that we were on the same page of, and it was one of those, it was at that time where like fall was coming.
The leaves are changing.
It was like October. And so I was like, okay, perfect. Like the leaves are gonna be like that yellow reddish. I wanna be outside. I wanna be kind of like in the really cool point. And so I'll have Korynn post a picture. I kind of just went scouting for a while, just like trying to find like places where I could do it, where it was like in the forest by the river. And so I remember finding this place, and it had, like the picture you'll see, it was like kind of like these rocks that went out, and it was the middle of the river. And her friends telling her like a month before, I was like, hey, mention you guys want to do a photo shoot. So it was like kind of like prepping her to not expect it, because I wanted to surprise her. We obviously talked about it. We picked out the ring. Everything was like, she knew it was coming. She just didn't know when. So I just kind of wanted to like keep that mystery going. So I had her friends tell her that they're going to do like a photo shoot, so she'd get all ready and like look good. And that way she didn't get mad. She was in like leggings or something.
And it was my birthday that week. And so my friend was like, oh, I want to give my birthday gift and we'll go get our nails done. Which, like, if you know me, I never do my nails.
Here, and the water is kind of like at this level. So she was walking with her friends. I was already down there because I set everything up. And she was walking with her friends, and the friends were like, hey, let's go down like this path that like led down to where I was at. And she saw this guy sitting there in his feels, which was me sitting there waiting for her. And I'm literally just like, okay, like this is the moment. My heart's beating on my chest. I hear her walking up, and then they aren't walking down. I'm like, what is happening? Like, we're on the same page. Is she having like second thoughts right now? I was like going through all like the worst case scenarios of like, like her friend's gonna come down and be like, McKay, I'm sorry. And so luckily she finally comes down, and I'm just like, hi. And so she comes over. The funniest part was like, it just rained, so there was mud, and Korynn walks through. I'm like, hey, come around this way. And she's got her mindset. She's like, okay, this is happening. So she just walks straight through the mud with her boots and just like sinks in. And I'm like, oh no. But we both kind of just were like, who cares? Let's go. So she has her muddy boots. We have like this white blanket. She just kind of walks on it. I'm like, who freaking cares? I told myself to pull the ring out before, like I kneeled down. And I was like trying to fight it because like my pants were tight, so it was hard to pull it out. Everything, the picture, it's just one of those things where like the picture looks great, but you have no idea what just happened beforehand. Amazing moment, and it was super cool that we had like friends to help out, and everything just kind of turned out.
My side, I guess, of this story is I'm originally from Oregon, so I love the trees. The trees are like the best to me. So we decided to go on this photo shoot, and we were just taking photos, and I saw my brother's car there, and I was like, that's weird. Like, why is his car here? Like, he has a friend in town. Like, wouldn't he be spending time with like his friend? And my roommates were like, oh, that's weird. I don't know why that happened. But, you know, we just kind of went along with the photo shoot. And then we were walking down the path, and they were like, oh, let's go down here. And I was like, oh, no, like, let's keep going. Like, I look down, and there's this guy, and like, I just see the back of him, and he's just sitting, and he looks like he's just having a moment to himself. And, you know, in my mind, I'm like, if that was me, like, I would just kind of want to be by myself. Like, I wouldn't want to, like, be disturbed. And so I was like, oh, no, like, I don't want to interrupt him. Like, he's clearly having a moment. Like, it's okay. I start walking down, and like he said, it was really muddy, and I had worn boots. So to me, it wasn't a big deal. I'm a little bit like, I don't care if I get dirty or whatever. Like, I just kind of go for it. And so, like he said, I didn't even see the path that he had laid out. I just kind of like walked towards him, and that happened to be through mud. And then, so in the picture, you can kind of see a little bit of mud on my boots and leg and stuff. This is funny. But then he proposed, and it was just really sweet. I had my really close friends there, and we went to dinner and celebrated, and it was just such a sweet time. Like, I really cherish that memory. So then, fast forwarding, we got engaged in October, and originally we were gonna get married in May. We were talking to some of our like close friends and mentors, and they were kind of like, why are you waiting? Like, you guys know you're the one, and like, you know that that's who you want to be with, so why are you putting it off? But in my mind, I was like, I don't know, I'm so young, this is a really fast timeline, so like maybe we wait until May to kind of like let there be more time. But like just realizing that like, no, we knew that we were each other's person and that's who we wanted to spend our life with. So we got married January 2nd, 2021 in San Diego, which is his hometown, and it was quite a whirlwind of a time. That was kind of the second wave of COVID, so unfortunately a lot of things ended up getting canceled, and a lot of my family couldn't attend due to health and traveling at that time, and a lot of his family was able to be there, and it was really sweet. And my dad got to marry us, which was it was the best. It made the whole experience, and I loved reading our vows to each other. Like every now and again I still like reread them because I just like hold them so near and dear to my heart. Like they mean so much to me. But we've now been married 2 years, and
Time's flying by.
Thought I was so in love with him then, but I realized that like that doesn't even compare to how much I love you now.
We're just so cute. So it's been awesome. We definitely learned and grown a lot, and I think it's just one of those things where we wanted to make this memory so that way, however many years we can look back and see it, our kids could see it and just kind of realize, you know, there's ups and downs and everything. Relationships aren't always perfect, but like if it's gonna work, it's gonna work out, and you're gonna find the way to make it work out. And so being married 2 years now, we definitely have learned a lot about each other, a lot more than we realized when we were dating, and so it's been an awesome time.
Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next time, and
Take
bye.
care.